Yeah, very good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
sir.
sir.
Sorry, guys, because there was some technical problem and some issue. I was not having this internet. Recently, it has come back. So let us just immediately start it up. So let me take the attendance. Asta Khandelwal, Abhigyan Gupta, Aditya, Ankit, Anshul Goswami, Arpan Mishra, Ashutosh Mershi, Ayush Bothra, Ritik Bharadwaj, Sprit Singh Walia, Janvi Singh, Karan Agarwal, Kaushal Agarwal, Lakshya, Meghna Dhuria, नमन जालान, नवीन चांदलानी, नव्या सिंह, नेहा सिंह राठौर, प्रीतम मिलन लस्कर, प्रियांशी शर्मा, राघव दुबे, संभव गर्ग, समृद्धि त्रिपाठी, सान्या कंवर, सरवंत सिन्हा, सौरभ यादव, शाहिद चौहान, श्रेया धरन, शुभम सिंह राणा, तुषार खंडेलवाल, वंशिका सुनील, वत्सल रस्तोगी and Yashvardhan Tiwari. Okay, let us just directly start the class. So yesterday we were discussing about uh, yeah. So yesterday we were discussing about the prospectus, right? So prospectus and half of the chapter we did with the prospectus and remaining is to be completed. And this is all session wise PPT which I have just now, you can say recently updated. I will share this with you also. So it comprises of nothing, but this is something in a well organized manner. So today we will start with the misstatement in the prospectus and what are the remedies of the misstatement in the prospectus. Actually, it is session 10, but the thing is that we have already taken the other things before, so I decided to take it afterwards only. So we just have seen about the golden rule of legacy as such. So golden rule of legacy is there, and golden rule of legacy is actually related to the misstatement in the prospectus only. Okay, so let us proceed further with this. So golden rule of legacy was pronounced uh, um, um, in year 1860. Okay, in the case of New Brunswick and Canada Railway Company. So we did. I think we discussed about this yesterday also, and there was another case also, Rex versus Kelcent in the golden rule of legacy. So what is the misstatement or untrue statement in the prospectus, and what are its remedies and what are its consequences that we will be going to study today. So according to section 34(1) of the in the Companies Act 2013, a statement included in the prospectus shall be deemed to be untrue if the statement is misleading in the form and or the context uh, it is included. Okay, so if the statement is misleading in the form of the context which is of which it is included, or where any inclusion or omission from the prospectus or any matter is likely to mislead the public as such, so then it will be called as a you can say misleading statement, or you can say a misstatement in the prospectus. And I have yesterday also I told you that misstatement in prospectus is full of uh, what you call is misstatement in prospectus is derogative for the company. It actually will put the company and the promoters and the directors in a situation which will attract the huge penalties from the government. Okay, because prospectus is actually issued for the general public. It is prospectus shows the prospects of the company, and on behalf of that prospects, believing in that, or believing in that the investors will invest their hard earned money in the company. So if that is misleading or that is untrue, then definitely they have to face the consequences. Okay, so it is regarding the statement included in the prospectus shall be deemed to be untrue if the statement is misleading in any form and context in which it is included. Thus, in this regard, to consider prospectus as a fraudulent, it is not necessary that there should be a false representation in it, even if every word included in the prospectus may be true. But if there is suppression of material fact, then it will be treated as an misstatement. Means actually the things which has to be disclosed must be disclosed properly, and if it is not disclosed properly, then it will lead to the consequences. So a statement that proceeds of the issue of the debenture to be utilized for improving and development of the company, whereas the real object was to issue it for the paying of the past liability. This is also a misstatement. Okay, prospectus represent that the share will be issued at the half of the nominal value. This is also a misstatement. So there is a case law which is called Peak versus Goodney. So a decideful prospectus was issued by directors on the behalf of the company. P received a copy of it but did not take any shares originally in the company. The allotment of the shares to the applicants was completed, and several months afterwards he bought 2,000 shares on the stock exchange. So his action against the directors for deceit was rejected. Why? Because it was observed by the court that the office of a prospectus is to invite a person to become the allottees, and allotment having been completed, such office is exhausted, and the liability to the allottees does not follow the shares into the hands of the subsequent transferees. So there may be some, there may be some case where you can say there are means the people have it actually exhaust when the actual initial offer has been finished. So this is actually related to the initial offering which for which the prospectus is issued. So if there is something is found in the prospectus untrue, and some subsequent buyer is filing a suit against the company that there is the prospectus is misleading, then such suit will not be maintainable. So it has to be taken at the time when the company has issued the prospectus. Okay, or you can say company has issued the shares for the first time in the market. So the burden of proof in the suit by an allottee that he has been misled by our misstatement prospector lies on the allottee. So he must prove the following: that is, that there was a misrepresentation, and it was a misrepresentation of a material fact, and he has acted upon such misrepresentation, and also he has suffered the damages as a consequence of such misrepresentation. So this is to be proved by the person to who is to be allotted the shares, or to whom the shares has been allotted. Next is the remedies for the misstatement in the prospectus. A person who has applied for the shares in the company and who has been allotted shares has certain remedies against the company and the person issuing the prospectus, but a buyer of the shares in the open market, secondary market, or a subscriber to the memorandum has no such rights. So those people who are actually being allotted the shares by the company in the initial allotment only, they are having the rights, or they are having the remedies against the company for the misstatement in the prospectus. Now one more thing, if you see over here, those people who are subscribers to the memorandum also do not have any such right. So subscriber to the memorandum of association, they must understand that they have understood all the terms and conditions of the contract, and then only they are the subscribers of the memorandum. Means they are the promoters of the company. So promoter of the company cannot go beyond the company or the other promoters in order to execute a misstatement in the prospectus, because at that time there was no prospectus which was issued. They were given shares on the basis of signing the memorandum, or you can say subscribing the memorandum. There was no prospectus at all. So as there was no prospectus at all, there is no question of having a misstatement and going against the company for any of the reasons. If, however, a prospectus is issued with the object of including a person to buy the shares in the open market, any person who buys the shares even in the open market on the basis of the statement made in it has a right of action if the statement are untrue. So for example, sometimes what happens, the company actually goes for a underwriting. So under the underwriting of the shares, the shares will be issued in the open market only for the first time, and in that case, if it is an intention, then the open market people will also be having a right to file a suit against the company for the misstatement in the prospectus. Why? Because they have acted upon on the basis of the prospectus only. So when the civil liability is attracted, so civil liability is attracted if a person has subscribed for security of the company acting on the statement which is untrue, misleading, or wrong statement included in the prospectus and has suffered a loss. So untrue statement may be without intention to cheat or whatsoever, but untrue statement is an untrue statement over here. Even untrue statement will be untrue even if it has been issued without any knowledge that it is untrue. Okay, so a person who subscribed for the share on the faith of a false prospectus may claim from the directors and the promoters what? Now these are the remedies. What? Damages for the fraudulent misrepresentation, compensation under section 35 of the act, and damages of non-compliance with the requirement of section 26 of the act. Okay. So first is the damages for the fraudulent misrepresentation. An allotee may sue the director for the damages for deceiving him if there are fraudulent misrepresentation in the prospectus, but the directors will not be liable for damages for misstatement if they believe them to be true. So even if they are believing them to be true and somebody else, so one person has to be responsible. In such a case, what happens? The key managerial persons appointed by the company will be responsible, because they must understand and know that they are the experts also. They must understand and know that what will be the consequences of suppressing the facts and what will be the consequences of the misrepresentation in the prospectus. So they must know each and everything. One cannot say that this thing I never knew, until and unless the thing is not beyond his control. Okay. Next is a compensation for untrue statement as per section 35(1), where a person has subscribed for the securities of the company acting on any statement included or inclusion or omission of any matter in the prospectus which is misleading and has sustained any loss, damage, a consequence thereof, the company, then the following persons are liable to pay the compensation to every person who has sustained the loss or damages by reason of untrue statement included in the prospectus. Now, who are those persons? So every person who is a director of the company at the time of issue of prospectus. Second, every person who is authorized himself to be named and is named in the prospectus as a director of the company, may he not be the director of the company, but if he has authorized someone to just, okay, you add me as a director, he will also be responsible, and has agreed to become a director afterwards, he will also be responsible either immediately or after the interval of time. So every person who is a promoter of the company will be responsible. Every person who has authorized the issue of the prospectus will also be responsible, and the expert, which just now I told you that experts are included. Why? Because they understand the nitty-gritties of the legal aspect of misstatement in the prospectus. So they are also held responsible. So when civil liability can be avoided, no person referred above shall be liable for the civil action if he proves that having a consented to become a director of a company, he withdrew his consent before the issue of the prospectus, and that it was issued without his authority and the consent. Next is that the prospectus was issued without his knowledge or consent, and that on becoming aware of its issue, he forthwith gave the reasonable public notice that it was issued without his knowledge. So until and unless it is, if it is issued as if there was no knowledge of the, the content of the prospectus, then they can actually get rid of it. But it is not that much easy to just be out of it if once it is issued with a fraudulent, information. So further, as an expert may also escape the liability if he proves that having given his consent under section 26 to the issue of the prospectus, he withdrew it in writing before delivery of the copy or prospectus of registration to the registrar. Okay, so he can also, because I think if it is proved that there was no knowledge, then nothing can happen. Next is your criminal liability. According to section 34 of the Companies Act 2013, where the prospectus issued, circulated or distributed includes any statement which is untrue or misleading in the form or context in which it is included, or where any inclusion or omission of any matter is likely to mislead, every person whosoever authorizes the issue such prospectus shall be liable under section 447. So what 447 is? 447 provides any person who is found to be guilty of fraud. So this 447 is, he shall be punishable with the imprisonment of which is not less than 6 months, which may extend to 10 years, totally depending upon the seriousness or the severe ability of the we can say the offense which has been done, and shall also be liable to fine which shall not be less than the amount involved in the fraud, but which may extend to 3 times of the amount involved in the fraud as such. Okay. So when the criminal liability is attracted again, if the prospectus includes any statement which is untrue, misleading with intention. So here intention is very, very important. If the thing has intentionally been done in order to mislead people, in order to attract the money, or in order to collect the money from the public, then it will be, you know, it will be, you can say, um, it will attract the criminal liability. So let me tell you, let me share with you one thing. I was one of the expert behind the issue of one prospectus of Janki Corps Limited in 2006. So I was involved in preparation of the prospectus as such, and what happened that by mistake the there was a inclusion of the age of the director wrongly included as such. The age was actually 58 and we wrote 56 age in the prospectus. So what happens this? So this is not a matter which is actually has been done to the mislead, because 2 years of age is, though it is a untrue statement, but that neither the intention was correct nor will it make any difference for a person who is going to invest in the company as such. So 2 years of less or more will not at all affect. Okay, so this is not a matter of to be included. So omission of any matter or the information which is likely to mislead also attacks the criminal liability. Okay, so defense is available to avoid the criminal liability. So what are the defenses which are available to just avoid the criminal liability? So such a statement, if those persons who are responsible for it, if they are having a reasons to prove that such a statement of was immaterial, just now I told you about an immaterial thing, that 2 years itself is a immaterial, whether it is included or whatsoever. So there was one complaint also in the this company law board regarding there was a for the misstatement in the prospectus after it was issued when I was there. So we proved it to be a immaterial. So we just wrote one thing to the CLP that this is immaterial, whether there's a 2 years difference is, doesn't matters at all. So and they were actually convinced by that. So second, he has a reasonable ground to believe and did up to the time of the issue of the prospectus believe that the statement was true. Okay, and the same thing was with us also that we actually what happened, we just wrote the age on the basis of the driving license supplied at that time. Aadhaar card was not that much in picture. So Aadhaar and this UDI and this all have come after 2010. So at that time, the proof of age used to be either your driving license or your 10th mark sheet, and also 10th mark sheet was not available. So we just included the driving license and put the copy of driving license and accordingly wrote the age, and it was totally untrue. So we believe it to be true because it was there in the document. So we just included it as such, and then afterward we showed the documents and it was all okay. So the inclusion and or the omission was necessary. So this is something which is inclusion or omission is necessary if you are ready to prove this. So sometimes it is very difficult to prove. So this is these are the things which can save a professional person from the criminal liability also. So now who are entitled to remedies? So right to claim the compensation for any loss or damage sustained by a reason of the untrue statement in prospectus available only to a person who has actually subscribed for the securities or who has actually applied for the securities. Okay, so the word subscribe donates, the shares were acquired directly from the company by allotment. Okay, so there has to be some allotment happened against the application made. Okay, so a subsequent purchaser of the share in the open market has no remedy because it has to be against the application made by the made to the company for getting the shares issued. Okay, again, liability under prospectus can only arise when the prospectus has been issued and only in the favor of person who has subscribed for the securities in response to it and relied upon the statement made therein. So if the prospectus is issued with the object of inducing a person to buy securities in the open market, any person who buys on the strength of the false statement made in it has a right of action because there is an inducement. You want the people to apply, so you actually induce them. Advertisement you have pasted it in the newspaper, you have given it in the newspaper, relying on those advertisements. Somebody has actually got inducted, and as a result, he got inducted. He applied for the shares and he got the shares, and this is and he can actually file a suit for the misleading statement in the prospectus afterwards. Okay, so there are certain contents of the prospectus. What a prospectus of a company should contain. I told you prospectus actually shows the prospects of the company. So address of the registered office, name and address of the company secretary, auditors, bankers. So date of opening and closing the issue, declaration about the issue of allotment, statement by the board about the separate bank account where the monies will be received and all that. Okay, so details about the underwriters, consent of the directors, auditors, bankers, and the expert opinion if any is required. Okay, so authority to issue the details. So procedure and the time of the schedule of the allotment of the securities, capital structure of the company. This is very, very important. The capital structure of the company, main objects and present business of the company, its location, and main objects of the public offer and the terms of the issue. So these last 3 points are very, very important for this. Yeah, these are not last points, but these are the one of the most important points. Okay, next is minimum subscription amount payable. Then details of the directors, including their appointment. So here the details in the directors, we did a mistake. Okay. Anyways, so disclosure about the sources of the promoters' contribution, that how the promoters will be contributing, what is their source, that what is it their money or have they taken this money from some other bank. So this is also one of the things which is to be included. Particulars relation to management perception of risk. Now this is a risk factor. What is the risk factor? Gestation period of the project if it is a new project. So extent of the project made. So deadlines of completion of the project, and also what happens if the project doesn't complete on time. So these all things are there which are the important part of the prospectus. Okay. Now there are certain SEBI regulations for issue of prospectus. Okay, so in front of the outer cover page, it has to be offer letter, name of the issuer company, and its logo must be there. The nature, number, price, amount of instruments offered, these all things are there. Not that much, but yeah, if you want, you can go through this, but not that much important. Now, procedure of issue of prospectus. This is one of the important points. So compliance of the SEBI has to be done. So whatever regulations are under 2009, just now I have to shown you. So these are the regulations which are to be complied with, and these gets amended from time to time. So only an expert who is regularly in touch with this can actually guide that to how to proceed further with it. Okay, so this is then you have to go for the registration of the prospectus. So it is mandatory to get the prospectus registered with the registrar of companies before it is issued to the general public. So the process of getting the prospectus registered is as under: a copy of prospectus duly signed by every person who is named therein as a director or proposed director of the company must be filed with the ROC before the prospectus is issued to the general public. Next is these are the documents which are to be attached with the prospectus for getting it registered. Consent to issue the prospectus required under any person as an expert confirming his written consent has to be given thereof, and he has not withdrawn his consent. This is again important because there is always a option of withdrawing the consent. Next is the copies of contract entered into with respect of the appointment of the managing director, other directors and officers of the company has to be there to be filed with the registrar. If the auditor or accountant of the company has made any adjustment in the company's account, such adjustment must, because this is one of the things by which other people can be befooled. So auditors, if they have made any adjustments, so adjustments must be disclosed over here. Further, there must be a copy of application which is to be filled for the issue of company's shares and debentures attached in the prospectus. So application is to be filled, and the prospectus must have the written consent of the persons, bankers, solicitors, auditors, directors, and all the consent has to be. So these are the documents which are to be included. Now what happens? So all these documents have to you have to attach all these documents and then proceed further. So C is next is every prospectus must have on its face the statement that a copy of prospectus has been delivered to registrar for registration. So and it specifies any documents required to be endorsed for this section have been delivered to the registrar. So this is a statement which must be there, and the registrar actually endorses this, and then he gives it back to you as an endorsement. So a copy of prospectus must be filed with the registrar of companies. I have already told. So according to section 26, no prospectus shall be issued more than 90 days after the date on which the copy thereof is delivered for the registration. Okay, so it has to be 90 days prior, because they need 90 days to study and see the prospectus of your company, because you want to raise the public money out of it. So after 90 days of the registration only you can go for any public issue. So if the prospectus is issued in contravention of the above stated provision, then the company and every person who is responsible for it will be punishable with a fine. So now once it has been done, then registrar will refuse. So how and what are the circumstances in which registrar will refuse the registration of the prospectus? And if he has refused the registration of the prospectus, you cannot go for a public issue. Okay. So section 26(7) provides that registrar shall not register prospectus unless the requirement of section 26 with respect to its registration are complied with and the prospectus is accompanied by the consent of all the persons named in the prospectus, or if he finds some discrepancy in it, then he can refuse. So registrar will refuse if it is not dated, it does not contain the matter reports and declarations set out in it. It contains a statement of prospectus or statements of reports of the experts engaged or interested in the formation of or promotion of the management of the company. A copy delivered to the registrar is not signed by the person who is actually named as a director, so he is having all the right to reject it. Okay, so he will not register the prospectus, or he will refuse to register the prospectus if any discrepancy which is being given under section 26 or 35 is found incorrect. So the issue of prospectus, a prospectus must be issued within 90 days of its registration. Prospectus issued after the set period shall be deemed to be a prospectus, a copy of which has not been delivered to the registrar for registration. So if you will do it afterwards, so it as if it is not, because it has to be within 90 days. So at least some time must be there in order to get let the people understand the things. So or if you delay it, then it will be considered as if you have not given any copy to the registrar as such. So the company and every person who is knowingly a part to the issue of prospectus without registration shall be punishable with the fine ranging from 5 lakhs to 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs. Okay. Now terms of the prospectus not to be varied or changed. So according to section 27, the company shall not vary, means it should not change the terms of the contract referred in the prospectus or the objects for which the prospectus was issued except by way of a special resolution. So and dissenting shareholders shall be given an exit offer by the promoters or controlling shareholders subject to such matter as specified by the Security Exchange Board of India. So you cannot, first of all, you cannot vary and change the terms and conditions once you have filed the prospectus. But still, if you want to change it, that such change must be accompanied with a special resolution. And there may be some shareholders who may not agree with it. So those shareholders may be given a proper exit path, or you can say they must be offered some amount and they want to surrender the share. They may surrender the shares and go away. Okay, so such type of option has to be given. Next is the application form to accompany the abridged prospectus. So application form must be accompanied with the abridged prospectus. As such, then only the prospectus will get registered. Okay, so this is all about your prospectus and how the prospectus is issued and the method of process of issuing the prospectus. What are the consequences of misstatement in the prospectus? What are the various types of prospectus? So now you please write down your homework which you have to do. So this is something which is related to the prospectus as such. So I'm just giving you the assignment which you have to perform and you have to do. So first most thing is, what is prospectus? What is prospectus and what are its various types? This is one which you have to do. Second is, what is explain the golden rule of legacy. Golden rule of legacy. Okay. What may be the consequences? When when a statement in prospectus to be misleading and what are its consequences. Okay, so the consequences of consequences. Okay, so these are the things which I expect from you guys. And also contents, what are the remedies of misstatement. Remedies of misstatement in prospectus. Okay, so these you have to do, and last date is Saturday by 6 p.m. Okay, so you have to finish all the, so every week I will be giving you assignment, so that assignment will be called assignment of that week and will be marked as complete one assignment as such. So whatever is given in the week will be one assignment. Fine. So you have to submit this. 3 assignments more are with you. So please submit those assignments also and submit this also along with. Okay, Shreya, you have to collect all these assignments on the ID created by you. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And accordingly, we will. Acha, one more thing. Everyone is doing the assignment properly and correctly. We believe that. So those who will be delaying the assignment, 1 mark for each and every day of delay will be deducted. Okay. So if you delay the assignment, your marks will be deducted. And at the same time, if you have not done the assignment properly, then also your marks will be deducted. So mind that. Okay. Yeah, any
Yes,
question,
sir.
anything you would like to ask, or anything you would regarding quizzes? So quizzes, I think we will be able to do at the end of this week. Okay, so I will fix up a time and will give it to you. So what time suits you on Friday? Should I give it to you after the lunch, or do you have classes on Friday?
So we have classes on Friday, sir.
So what time will be suitable for all of you to when you will be free to do the quiz? Do you have any class at 1:15 or in between that?
No, sir.
So I will schedule your 3 quizzes will be scheduled from in between 1 to 2. Would that be okay? So one I will keep at 1:15, second at 1:30, and third at 1:45. So 3 quizzes.
Sir, instead of having 3 quizzes on, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, begin.
Sir, instead of having 3 quizzes on Friday, can we like have 1 quiz tomorrow? That will be good if you agree.
Okay, fine. We can have it. Shreya, can we have it? 1 tomorrow and 2 on Friday. Would that be okay? Abhigan?
Yes, sir.
So can you appear for at least 2 quiz on Friday? Abhigan?
Yes, sir. Yes, 2 quiz will be okay. Yes, sir. 2 quiz will be okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So we will start at 1:30 to 2, or you want it from 1:15 to 2:45?
I don't know, sir. If everyone if everyone agrees to like 1, then it's fine.
Okay, so sharp at 1, I don't have any problem.
1:15, I think, sir. Like our classes are over by 1, then I think 1:15 would be okay.
Yeah, so that's why 1:15. So 1 quiz at 1:15, another quiz at 1:30 on Friday, and 1 quiz tomorrow. Shreya?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have given you some work to be done. You told me you will give it to me by evening today.
Yes, I'll try my maximum, sir.
Fine. Okay. So thank you all, and let us take the attendance and we'll sign off for the day. Okay. So Aastha Khandelwal, Abhigyan Gupta, Aditya, Ankit, Anshul Goswami, Arpan Mishra, Ashutosh Maharshi, Ayush Bothra, Ritik Bharadwaj, Ishpreet Singh, Janvi Singh, Jamima, Karan Agarwal, Kaushal Agarwal, Lakshya Lakra, Meghna Duria, Naman Jalan, Naveen Chandlani, Navya Singh, Neha Singh Rathore, Priyam Milan Laskar, Priyanshi Sharma, Raghav Dubey, Sambhav Garg, Samriddhi Tripathi, Sanya Kanwar, Sarwan Sinha, Saurabh Yadav, Shahid Chauhan, Shara Khan, Shreya Dharan, Shubham Singh Rana, Tushar Khandelwal, Vanshika Sunil, Vatsal Rastogi and Yashwardhan Tiwari. Guys, thank you and have a nice
Thank you,
day.
sir. Have a
Take
nice
Thank
care
you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
and be safe.
Have a
Bye
nice
bye.
day, sir. Bye, sir.